It's Karen, and today we're going to make beef stew in the Instant Pot. So rather than buying the meat that's already cut up, I like to buy a whole chuck roast and brown that meat in the Instant Pot. So I have it on saute mode, it's already ready to go, but I have it on the high setting, and initially if it wasn't on the high setting, you can press saute and then adjust, and it'll allow you to change from low to medium to high or whatever setting it's on. So what we're going to do is I patted my meat dry with a paper towel, and I've seasoned with salt and pepper on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and put my roast in, and I'm going to say, Alexa, set a timer for 7 minutes.
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
So in 7 minutes, I will flip it and do another 7 minutes. No need to keep checking it or flipping it or anything like that. Let it sit for 7 minutes and then do the other side. And I'll be back when it's time to go to the next step. Alexa, cancel. Okay, I have browned both sides of my chuck roast, and now I'm going to carefully remove it. There we go. I'm carefully removing it, setting it on a plate, and setting it aside and letting the juice accumulate. You are going to save that because you need to use it, but I'm setting it aside. And I'm going to take my white mushrooms and pour them into the pot. And we're going to saute the mushrooms for about 6 minutes. While that's happening, you need to be preparing your other vegetables. You've got onions to slice, you have celery to dice, you have potatoes to dice. So get those things ready, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I finished sauteing my mushrooms, so I'm going to remove them and put them in a bowl just to sit. I did 6 minutes to give them plenty of time. A spoon might be easier than what I'm doing. And a little bit there. Okay, now what we're going to do is add our onions. These I sliced while the meat was cooking, actually. So I'm going to let them start cooking for 3 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next thing that we add. Okay, it's been 3 minutes, so now I'm going to go ahead and add some other ingredients. I'm going to add 3 cloves or 3 teaspoons, whichever works for you. And I do heaping teaspoons because you can never have enough garlic. So I'm adding 3 teaspoons of that. 2 bay leaves. 1, 2, and 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, dried thyme. And then I'm going to give it a little stir and let it cook for 1 more minute. Okay, now I'm going to pour 1/4 cup of sherry in here to deglaze my pot. Woo. And I'm going to, go around and scrape all of the loose bits. And so go ahead and do that, and then what you're going to do is turn off your pot by pressing cancel and let it just sit while you cut up your meat. So I'm going to show you that in 1 second. All right. You want to make sure that you do this step, because if you do not, you are probably going to get a burn notice on the front of your pot. There we go. Meaning that things are sticking to the bottom of your pot while you're cooking. So you make sure that you deglaze. Okay, I am slicing my meat. I did have some pretty fatty parts of the meat, and so I might discard some of that. But you do want to keep some fat for flavor. But I'm slicing it into chunks about this size, and putting it back onto my plate, and then when I'm done, I'll show you what's next. We're ready for the last part. We are going to put in a 1/2 cup of chicken stock or broth, either one, it's up to you. A tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, a tablespoon of soy sauce. So I've got this, 1.5 cups. And I'm using chicken stock. And I know that sounds weird. We're making beef stew and I'm using chicken stock, but it really is the flavor of the chicken stock that I prefer. So that's what we're using. All right, now we've got a tablespoon of soy sauce, and that probably sounds weird too, but it gives it a great flavor. And then 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, however you say that. All right, now that we've got all that in there, and we still have our onions and garlic and all that in there, gonna stir that up. And my pot was deglazed, so I have a little bit of flavor from the sherry in there. Now I'm going to add in my beef. These are 1.5 to 2 inch cube pieces. So I'm gonna add those pieces in along with the juice that's been accumulating. And kind of spread it around so that it's partially submerged. Okay, now you have a couple of options here with your vegetables. So I like mine to kind of turn really mushy. So I'm gonna put all my vegetables in here now and cook them. And then because I've cut them up, like my potatoes, we're doing Yukon Gold potatoes. I took 5 of them and I quartered them, which means I cut them into 4 pieces. So I'm doing all 5 of those in there now. And then recipe calls for about 3 large carrots cut into pieces about this size. So I might as well use the baby carrots and just, use like a half a bag. So that's what I did. So I've got these, and then celery, 3 stalks cut into small pieces. So what's gonna happen, and notice that I haven't said anything about the mushrooms or the peas. That's because we're reserving those go in later. So I like mine to kind of turn to mush, so I'm gonna put them all in now. If you didn't want them to turn to mush, you would actually not cook the meat yet. You would cook these for about 4 minutes, then remove them, then cook the meat, then come back to these. Whoops. But since I don't want to do that, I'm not going to cook them that way, but I'll put it as an optional direction down in the notes. Okay, so I need one more thing, and that is my tomato paste. I almost forgot it. So I need 3 tablespoons of tomato paste on top. And you want to kind of make sure that you put these in this order, because tomato paste will burn to the bottom and to the sides. So you don't want to put that in before you put all this other stuff in. Give me one. Okay, I've added my 3 tablespoons, and what I'm gonna do is close my lid. Make sure that my vent is sealed, and I'm going to set it for high pressure, 32 minutes. Then I'm going to let it naturally release for 10 minutes before releasing the rest of the pressure. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, my pot cooked for its 32 minutes, then I let it release naturally for 10 minutes, and then I release the rest of the pressure. Now I have turned it back on to saute mode, and I'm going to hold this with a little silicone grip, and I'm going to give it a little stir to try and break up the potatoes a little bit. And the sauce will thicken with the saute mode as it starts to bubble. If it doesn't thicken as much as you would like, you can use some cornstarch to thicken it up. But I'm gonna see, how much stirring with the potatoes thickens it up. I just want little pieces left of my potatoes. So I'm gonna give it a stir. Once this is done, after a few minutes, you can turn it off, add your peas and your mushrooms, and then you can serve and enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.